It's wild how someone can spend 4 years building a life with you, only to throw it all away for something shinier. I used to believe love was about commitment, about choosing each other every day, even when it was hard. I used to believe in her, in us. But now I believe in reality. Let me take you back 2 years. Her name was Madison. We met in college. Typical story, shared a project, stayed up all night working, and ended up falling asleep on the library couch. The kind of beginning you look back on and think, yeah, that was something real. She was smart, funny, beautiful in that unassuming way that sneaks up on you. And I was the guy with big dreams and no money. Hustling side jobs, freelancing at night, building the first pieces of what would eventually become my business. She was there through the struggle, or at least, she was present. Looking back, maybe she wasn't really with me the way I thought. We lived in a tiny apartment with paper-thin walls. I cooked cheap pasta. She brought home leftovers from her restaurant job. We didn't have much, but we had each other, or so I thought. The pressure started when we hit year 3. Her family, especially her mother, never liked me. I wasn't established. I wasn't from money. Her dad ran a chain of dental clinics, and her brother was in finance. Her family liked clean suits and quiet money. I was building websites and fixing code at 2 in the morning for startups that sometimes never paid me on time. At every holiday dinner, I felt it. The polite smiles. The pointed questions. How's that project going? Is it profitable yet? Do you think it's time to get serious about a career? Have you considered something more stable? Madison always brushed it off with a laugh, but she never defended me. Not once. She would change the subject, roll her eyes, say, "You know how my mom is," like that excused everything. It didn't. I started to notice how she talked about me to her friends. Not proudly, not like someone who believed in what I was building. She'd say, "He's trying this tech thing," or "He's passionate, but it's hard right now." I was building a business, a real one. I had 2 clients on retainer, and I was sleeping 4 hours a night because I was grinding for both of us. I thought we were a team, but I was wrong. It all fell apart on a Wednesday. She came home late. Her makeup looked too perfect for a girl's night, and she was quiet in that way that screams something's coming. I asked her how her night was. She didn't answer right away, just stood by the window, pulling off her earrings like she was practicing for a monologue. Then she said it. "I've been thinking a lot lately. That sentence should be banned. Nothing good ever follows it." She told me she needed space, that she didn't see a future with someone still trying to figure it out, that she loved me, but her parents had introduced her to someone more aligned with what she wanted long-term. His name was Carter. Real estate investment. BMW. Great teeth. Wore button-downs on weekends. Her family adored him. He had a real job, a clear future. And just like that, 4 years were over. She packed 2 bags and said she'd come back for the rest. I didn't cry. Not at first. I stood there in silence, heart racing, jaw clenched, while she walked away like we had just finished brunch and agreed to see other people. I didn't chase her. I didn't beg. But the second the door closed behind her, I sat down on our old couch and felt my whole body collapse. I couldn't breathe. She didn't just leave me. She quit on me. She quit on us. And the worst part? It wasn't even because I hurt her. I wasn't abusive or toxic. I didn't lie or cheat. I just wasn't enough. Not for her. Not for her family. Not for the life she thought she deserved. That night, I made myself a promise. I wouldn't drink to forget. I wouldn't spiral. I wouldn't chase her. I wouldn't prove her right. I would build. Not for revenge. For me. The next morning, I doubled down on my work. I stopped waiting for inspiration and started treating my business like war. I woke up earlier, learned faster, said yes to clients I didn't feel ready for, and figured it out later. I turned pain into fuel. I worked through birthdays and holidays, missed parties, cut off distractions, blocked her on everything, not out of hate, but because I needed peace. I needed focus. It was ugly for a while, lonely, but it worked. Within 6 months, I landed my first 5-figure contract. I hired my first part-time employee, got a real office, tiny, but mine. My first win. A year later, I moved out of that crappy apartment, paid off my debt. My business went from struggling freelancer to full-fledged digital agency. We had clients in 3 countries. I had money in the bank, stability, and freedom. But more importantly, I had clarity. And then came Ella. Ella wasn't like Madison. Where Madison always seemed like she was waiting for me to become someone else, Ella saw me exactly as I was, and still rooted for me. I met her at a tech conference, of all places. We were seated next to each other during a panel, and within 10 minutes, we were already roasting the speaker for using 10 buzzwords in a single sentence. She had her own startup. Bold, sharp, real. There was no pretending with her. No calculated pauses. No family watching us with judgmental eyes. She'd been through her own hell. An ex who tried to steal her app's code and pitch it as his. She understood betrayal. She understood grind. She understood me. At first, I was hesitant. Not because of her, but because of the wounds I still carried from Madison. I didn't want to drag someone new into my mess. But Ella wasn't afraid of my past. She saw it, acknowledged it, and made space for it. We took it slow, talked deeply, built something honest. By the time our 1-year anniversary came around, she had already helped me land 3 new clients just from her network. She believed in me in ways I didn't even believe in myself yet. And one night, while we were walking home in the rain, no umbrella, just laughter and wet shoes, I realized I didn't think about Madison anymore. She wasn't a scar. She wasn't even a shadow. She was just gone. But funny how life works. Because the moment I stopped caring, she came back. It started with a DM on a platform I'd forgotten I still had. One of those niche networks for tech founders. I hadn't updated my profile in a year. But there it was. Madison, hey. Hope you're doing well. Just came across your interview on the podcast. Congrats on everything. I didn't reply. 2 days later, another message, this time more personal. Madison, I know I don't have the right to reach out. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I messed up. I hope you're happy. Again, I said nothing. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I just didn't care enough to engage. But curiosity is a hell of a thing. I checked her profile. Gone was the shiny, perfect life. No more pictures with Carter. No vacation posts. Her last update was a quote about learning to forgive yourself. Typical. Eventually, through mutual friends, I learned what happened. Carter had been cheating on her. Not once. Not even discreetly. Full-blown, multiple affairs. And when she confronted him, his response was cold and simple. This isn't working. It never really was. She moved back in with her parents. Quit her job. Started taking time to find herself. The same family who pushed her to leave me had now left her in silence. They didn't rally behind her. They didn't support her the way they'd supported her decision to walk out on me. That's what happens when people support the image more than the person. But the part that really hit me? She started following Ella, liking her posts, watching our stories. Ella showed me, laughing. Your ex is obsessed with us. I shrugged. She had her chance. But Ella paused, looked at me. You okay? And I was. Because what I felt wasn't anger. It wasn't revenge. It was power. The quiet, grounded power of a man who knew he survived. Who rebuilt. Who rose. And that's when I knew. Madison didn't come back because she loved me. She came back because I became everything she didn't believe I could be. The next few weeks were strange. Madison didn't stop at silent stalking. She escalated. Subtly at first. Comments on old posts. Heart emojis under photos of my dog, who she used to hate, by the way. Then came the text. It was late, past midnight. I was lying in bed next to Ella, both of us half asleep after a long day of meetings and wine. My phone buzzed, and there it was. Madison, I drove past your office today. You looked really happy. You look different. I stared at the screen for a while. Not angry. Just surprised. Not at her, but at myself, for how little her words moved me. A few years ago, a message like that would have shaken my whole world. I'd have been pacing, dissecting, wondering what she meant. But now it felt like watching an old rerun I used to love, but had since outgrown. I didn't reply. Again. But I told Ella. I always did. That was our thing. No secrets. Even when the past tried to dig its claws into the present. Ella read the message, smirked, and said, she wants what she had when it was free. Now that it's worth something, she thinks she can come back and claim it. I nodded. She doesn't know who I am anymore. She never did. Madison started reaching out to my friends. Subtle things. How's he doing? I hope he's happy. Just enough to plant herself in conversations, to get people talking. Some friends warned me. Others laughed it off. One even joked, man, she's watching your life like it's a Netflix series she regrets quitting. I ignored her. And the more I ignored her, the more desperate she became. Then one afternoon, she showed up. At my office. No warning. No invitation. just appeared in the lobby like a ghost wearing perfume I hadn't smelled in years. She was thinner, paler, trying to look effortless, but carrying that wide-eyed guilt she could never hide. My receptionist asked if I wanted to see her. I said yes, not because I wanted closure. I already had that. I said yes because I wanted to say the words she'd never expect. She walked in with a soft smile. "Hey." I nodded. "Madison." She looked around the room. My office had grown. Glass walls, plants, real furniture, a team of 5 working behind me. "You really made it," she said. "I did." She sat down, crossed her legs, tried to own the space like she used to. But I wasn't the boy on the couch anymore, and she wasn't the queen of my world. "I made a mistake," she said. "I thought Carter was what I wanted. My family, they pressured me. I didn't know better." I let her talk, not because I wanted to hear it, but because I needed to. She went on about how she missed our connection, how no one had ever understood her the way I did, how she wished she had just waited. Then she asked me, "Do you think we could ever start over? Just talk at least?" I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I don't hate you, Madison. But the man you left behind died the day you walked out. The person sitting here now, he doesn't need to start over." She blinked. "So that's it." I nodded. "That's it." And then I said the part that actually broke her. "I'm happy. Genuinely. I'm with someone who sees me. Someone who never asked me to be more than I am. Someone who believed in me before the money, before the interviews, before the office. And every time I look at her, I thank God that you walked away, because if you hadn't, I might have never found her." She opened her mouth, closed it, and then quietly stood up. "I wish you the best," she said. I smiled. "I already have it." After Madison left the office that day, something inside me shifted. Not because I finally got to say my piece, but because I realized I didn't need to anymore. She didn't deserve that speech. She didn't deserve the closure, the insight, the final word. But I gave it anyway, for myself, not for her. I didn't think I'd hear from her again. I was wrong. A week later, Ella and I were attending a startup awards event. My agency had just landed Fastest Growing Creative Tech Brand in our category. Ella's app was nominated too. It was one of those surreal nights where everything you dreamed about when you were broke and exhausted and alone actually started happening. We walked the carpet together, took a photo that went mildly viral in the tech space. "Power couple energy," someone wrote. That's when Madison lost it. She saw the photo, saw the headline, saw the article that described me as a visionary entrepreneur with a grounded moral compass and a fiercely supportive partner. And she cracked. At first, she posted a vague quote on her story. "Some people pretend they're thriving, but not all that glitters is gold." I ignored it. Then came the subtweets. Then the long, weepy Facebook post about losing someone because of fear and family pressure. She didn't name names, but she didn't need to. Anyone who knew her knew who she meant. Still, I stayed silent. I wasn't going to play her game. I'd already won. I was living the life she didn't believe I could build. Loving the woman she couldn't bring herself to be. But she couldn't let go. She started messaging Ella. At first it was fake sweet. Compliments. "You're so lucky to have him." Then came the undermining. "Just be careful. He works a lot." That's what hurt us. He was always so obsessed with success. Ella showed me everything. We laughed at it. Because it was desperate. Sad. Embarrassing. But then it got darker. One night, Madison posted an old photo of us from college. Caption: "Funny how people forget who was there before the glow-up." She was unraveling in real time. Publicly. Messily. Like a slow-motion car crash with Instagram filters. Friends started reaching out, asking if I was okay, if I had seen it. I said the same thing every time. She left. She made her choice. I'm just living mine. And I was. Ella and I took a week off. Traveled. Turned off phones. Cleansed the digital air. When we came back, the noise had died down. Madison deleted the posts. Unfollowed Ella. Disappeared back into the quiet shame of realizing the world doesn't pause for your regrets. Meanwhile, I kept building. Ella and I moved in together. We bought a small place. Nothing flashy, just warm and full of light. She planted herbs in the kitchen. I turned the spare room into a hybrid office/music studio. It finally felt like home, not because of the space, but because of who was in it with me. That winter, I launched a mentorship platform to help young founders like me, kids with talent but no connections. It took off fast. Suddenly, I wasn't just building for me. I was pulling others up too. And that brought more peace than any clapback ever could. I never thought peace would feel so quiet. Not empty, just still. Like standing on a mountaintop after the climb, finally able to breathe without pain in your chest. That's what life became. Still, deep breaths. Warm mornings with Ella's head on my shoulder. Late nights spent dreaming, not surviving. The day I fully realized Madison no longer held any space in my mind was the day I saw her at a coffee shop, alone, head buried in her phone, stirring a cup she clearly wasn't drinking. I hadn't seen her in months. She looked up and saw me. Our eyes met, and nothing happened. No spark, no pain, no history rising up from the floor like a ghost. Just two people who once believed in forever and now couldn't fill a minute of small talk. She gave me a little wave. I nodded once and walked out. I didn't tell Ella. I didn't need to. That moment wasn't worth keeping. We were planning a trip by then. South Korea, Japan, maybe Thailand. Business was booming. Ella's app was bought out by a major firm, and she was being offered a seat at a board. We were living the kind of success people write LinkedIn posts about, but we didn't need to shout it. We were already full. And that's the thing. Madison didn't break me. She freed me. When she walked out, she lit a fire she never meant to. Her rejection taught me who I was without her, and that man? He's someone I'm proud of. She left me for a man with a better paycheck and a family-approved name tag. And in return, I found a woman who didn't need my resume, just my heart. She left for comfort. I built legacy. And now, 2 years later, she watches from the sidelines. Clicking, scrolling, lurking in stories where she doesn't belong. But I'm not angry. I'm grateful. Because if Madison hadn't left, I might have settled for a love that wasn't built to last. I might have believed I had to shrink to fit inside someone else's expectations. Instead, I grew. And the sweetest revenge? Isn't success. Isn't money. Isn't even finding someone better. It's peace. It's waking up with no bitterness. It's building a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. It's knowing the door she slammed in my face was the same one that opened the rest of my life. And I walked through it without ever looking back.